あ、これを見るとですね、
Spinal manipulation causes wide effects. I've been getting tons of requests for my reaction on this type of manipulation, and in this video today, we're going to talk about some of these adjustments. What are my thoughts on it, and do I recommend you guys undergoing these types of adjustments? What's up, everyone? This is Dr. Webb here. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe. New videos come every week. You don't want to miss it. For those that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Dr. Antonio Webb, and welcome to. So, this Y strap kind of phenomenon or recent trend of these manipulations by healthcare professionals, I'm getting lots of questions about what it is. Do these things really work? What is the evidence behind it? And we're going to talk about that today. First, I am by no means an expert in this. This is a disclaimer that I am solely a practitioner, surgeon looking from the outside in to see, like, what is all this hype about? Is there really evidence to support these adjustments? So spinal manipulation is where practitioners use their hands or other devices to manipulate the spine. The amount of force with these manipulations can vary, but it's usually in a controlled manner where the practitioner uses his hand or some type of device to pull traction on the spine. There are some chiropractors that believe that spinal problems called subluxations can cause ill health. And by adjusting or fixing the spine, this can promote healing or restore health. The extent of this belief varies from chiropractor to chiropractor, and some chiropractors just don't believe in it at all. So what is the Y strap? Well, the Y strap is a device that is around the skull, and it is used to pull traction on all these spines. The theory behind this is that it provides traction between the two vertebrae in the spine. This will allow the spine to be decompressed. It also allows the area of the spine to kind of nourish that area. If we look at a model here, this is a model of the spine. You have the base of the skull up here. You have your cervical spine. You have 7 cervical vertebrae, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7. And then you have your thoracic spine, your lumbar spine, and your sacrum. Between each of the vertebrae in the spine, you have what's called an intervertebral disc. The intervertebral disc is like a shock absorber. It's made of a lot of water, and what it does is it cushions the area between those two bones there. In the cervical spine, you also have the vertebral artery. This artery here runs through the side of the vertebral bodies on both sides. It ascends on top of the first cervical vertebrae that goes up into the skull. You also have the spinal cord. If you look at the back portion of the spine here, this is the front portion of the spine. Well, right in the middle runs the spinal cord. Off of the spinal cord runs nerve roots. So you have your C1 nerve roots, C1 nerve root, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, and C7. So the idea behind the Y strap or any type of traction in the spine is to relieve pressure and hopefully decompress the spine. If you imagine these two bones here and the disc that's in between them, if there's some arthritis or some bone spurs or some collapse of this disc space, well, that leaves less room for that nerve there. That results in some compression of that nerve. It may cause some weakness, some pain, some numbness, and tingling. The idea behind traction is that if you have some compression of that nerve there or some collapse of this disc space, if you pull traction this way here, you allow for more room for that nerve right there and hopefully to restore and nourish the intervertebral disc. A lot of the things that we do in medicine is based off of evidence-based medicine. And after a very thorough literature search, I just couldn't find much evidence to support its use. Let's go over to the video and check out some of these manipulations. I don't know whether that
looks like it hurts or feels good. I'm not sure. They say some people have really weird sensation after having this done. I've never tried it, and
my goodness.
I'm not sure if I would try that or not.
Oh my God. Just breathe
Wow.
through your nose, keep your teeth together. Man.
It may look like it, it may work. I'm not sure. Some people swear by it.
My husband,
Well, that's right.
he watches it right away.
There you go, boy. That was one for the ages.
そのカイロプラクティック、カイロプラクティックの主義なんやけど、それを、外科医見て、どう思うかっていうリアクション見る。
Child version doesn't look as painful as the other strap that they're pulling on.
Crackheads on the
Oh, dang.
The look on some of these people's faces after this is done is hilarious.
もうちょっと僕もこれ理解してから、リアクション動画撮ろうかなと。日本のメディカルドクターは多分こういうのリアクション動画撮ってないと思うよ。そう日本で多分今、なんていうか、動画をバンバン上げるって美容外科だけ。
So here are my thoughts about this Y strap.
上げるとおらんことないけど、数少ない。こういうのに上げてないの。これってね、ちょっとアンチを作る動画だね。
I didn't go to chiropractic school, and I wasn't trained in this form of medicine. So first, not all chiropractors believe in this, and not all chiropractors perform these type of adjustments. There are some chiropractors the ones online and on YouTube that cause a recent interest in this form of chiropractic medicine, and there are some chiropractors that just don't do it at all. Number two is that even though this looks like a very unsafe procedure, well, no one's going to get decapitated. Your skull is not going to be detached from your spine just by getting an adjustment like this. It's just not going to happen. Number three, not every patient is a candidate for this type of manipulation. There are certain cervical conditions as well as lumbar conditions that chiropractors feel that meet the indications for this adjustment, and you have to have a discussion with your chiropractor after a thorough exam, history and physical, as well as imaging studies to see if you're a candidate for this manipulation. I think there are many causes of neck pain as well as low back pain that it is critical to get a diagnosis and understand what's going on with your neck or your lower back before undergoing a manipulation like this. You have a huge disc herniation in your neck and especially on your C6 or C7 nerve root causing some weakness as well as some numbness and tingling in your hands. Well, that may not be an indication for this type of manipulation. You have to have a discussion with your chiropractor and say, does my condition meet the indications to undergo a manipulation like this? The next thing is that these adjustments and contraction that they're doing, these things are just temporary. If you have a bad disc in your neck and your vertebrae are collapsed or you have some compression in your neck, I don't think that traction will provide a permanent solution. But I always tell patients that you should exhaust all non-operative measures before going to surgery so that the surgeon as well as the patient knows that they've tried everything else, and if nothing else works, then surgery is used only as a last resort. So as a spine surgeon who has recently reviewed the literature for this type of manipulation, as well as speaking to a chiropractor recently, I think it's okay to try the Y-strap manipulations only if you have been evaluated by a healthcare professional and meet the indications with a certain condition that may benefit from this type of manipulation. I think with these adjustments, the results may be temporary. Some patients may only need one adjustment and feel fine for a couple of weeks or for a couple of months. But there may be a handful of patients that may need to have this type of traction done on a more frequent basis. There's not a lot of evidence behind these type of adjustments, but if I think you have a cervical condition or a lumbar condition, I think it's appropriate to try and exhaust all non-operative measures before going to surgery. There are some spinal conditions that just need surgery sooner than others, but there are a lot of spinal conditions and pathologies that can be treated
多
conservatively
分、スポンサー
for a
多
prolonged
分
period
見
of
てない
time.
けど、脊椎
I'm
の
a
人
firm believer in that if you try something and it works, then
いろんなコンディションがあって、そういうのを考えた上で
try
手
it
術するけどもいい
and
し、
that doesn't work. Well, surgery's always
手術をする前に、もう全てのことを試してみたらいい
Thank
と
you
思う。
guys for
手
watching
術はもう
this
大
video.
体さ、最後の
New videos.
最後の、
See you
取り出や
next
と。
time.
でもね、めちゃくちゃ見られてるからこれ。2年前で1300万回もある。そうです。すごいでしょすんげえ見られてるのこれ。ちょっとだから気になって。
If this guy pulled any longer or harder, these people would be dead. Hello, I'm Dr. Arajit Majan. I'm a neurosurgeon, board certified in the United States, practicing in Florida at the Duke Spine Institute. And I'm here today to talk to you about this very popular treatment that's online that we're seeing a lot of videos on, and it's called the Y strap. And this is a chiropractor who's using basically a harness, a traction harness to wrap around people's hands and grab it and then pull. And you're starting to see patients who are being treated with videos online. And these people are talking about how great they feel right after the treatment. So we want to dive in a little bit.
あんまり英会話とかそういうので全然ないけど、これなら結構生活サービスで恋愛相談
Just so you understand what we're talking about the manipulation technique done by a chiropractor on the spine.
スキルシェアって
And
サ
for
イト
those
が
of you who don't know much about the spine is made up of bones that are stacked on top of each other. It's called the spinal column because all of your body's extremities and organs are attached to the spine. And they put weight down on the spine. So
けどまあマーケティングコスト
gravity
な
pulls
もんよ
everything down, and all
ね。
these bones are compressed down on two types of joints. The two types of joints I'm talking about are the disc joint, which is the cushion between the bones, and
まあ
of
そう
course
なる
the
と
second
一番
type
ベ
of
ストね。
joint is the facet joint. The facet joint back here, there's a left and a right facet joint for every disc. So for movement to happen in the spine, it happens not where the bones are, but between the bones at the disc or the facet joints. So if I'm moving these two bones, I'm going to be moving it at the disc and I'm going to be moving them at the facet joint. It's a very big misrepresentation or myth to believe that chiropractic treatments affect the disc because they don't. They affect the facet joints. And when you hear the cracking and popping that goes on with manipulation, that cracking and popping is happening right here in the facet joint, not the disc. So we're going to talk a little bit more about these treatments. I'm going to start on my video right now and we'll talk about it. All right, so
Good. Oh my goodness, that was so good. That was so good.
all right. So why was that so fantastic? This woman is so happy because she did the treatment and she's still alive. And she's just happy as heck that she's alive and she
ス
survived
キ
it.
ルあらゆる
I would be happy too if I survived.
まだ生きてるから彼女はハッピーなんだ。
Basically, what this guy's doing is he's taking a very strong rope, putting it around your neck, and basically hanging you. I mean, how many of you watch the old Western movies, right? Where the people are going to put in the noose and they're going to get hung, and then suddenly the floor drops and they jolt down. That's the same thing this guy's doing, except he's not hanging them any longer than a second. He's just hanging them for that first second. So why are people feeling better? Well, first of all, they're hearing all that cracking and crunching going on, and that's happening once again in these little joints along the spine, because he's distracting the spine and basically pulling the joints apart. It's no different than popping your knuckles, okay? And that's why it makes that popping sound when he does it. Except when you pop your knuckle, you're popping one joint, so you feel one pop. When you're popping the spine, you're popping like 20 joints. And so that's why you're hearing all those popping and crunching sounds. It's just a matter of popping more joints. It just means it's more dangerous, to be quite honest with you. So what happens when those joints pop is they're basically sliding. Suddenly they're being pulled and slid, like being hung in a noose. Your body suddenly pulls on your neck, and all that weight goes down, pulling your head up, body down, distracts the joints. That's what happens right before you die. If this guy pulled any longer or harder, these people would be dead. So what kind of injuries could happen as a result of this treatment? Well, there's something called occipital cervical dislocation. And basically what it means is when your skull, which is what he's pulling on, literally pulls off your spine, and it pulls the spinal cord and the brain apart from each other, right at the brainstem. And if that happens, you're toast. You're gonna die. The brainstem controls breathing, consciousness, everything. And somebody could easily be basically knocked right out by damaging the
英語
brainstem.
わからなかったけど、頸椎がどっかの脱臼になって
It
死んでしまうよ。これが
contributed to set joints. The vertebral artery patency is worrisome. This can also just be done manually and no need for the Y strap without improper vectors on the patient's cervical spine.
So it's really, I think, very irresponsible, and this guy's lucky. It's like playing Russian roulette. You know, it's exciting. You put one bullet in the chamber and you pull the trigger. Wow. When you go to
Russian
Russia,
roulette,
you
yeah.
right? If the bullet happens to be the one in the chamber, when you pull the trigger, it's all over. So every time they're pulling on these people's heads, they could pull the skull right off the spine and basically snap your brainstem and half in your dead. So I think it's very irresponsible, to be quite honest. Where do we see these kind of injuries? We see them in motor vehicle accidents. That's when people get into crashes, like a head-on crash where the front of your car hits the rear of someone else, and your head snaps forward. The whole skull goes forward and it can rip right off the spine. This guy's recreating motor vehicle accident injuries to the neck every time he's doing this treatment. So why do people feel good? Well, like I said, number one, they feel all the cracking and popping, and wow, you know, I'm alive. So that's number one, I survived. So what that does is it releases all the natural endorphins and adrenaline in your body immediately. Fight or flight. We've all been in that situation where suddenly there's something dangerous, like a snake on the ground that might bite you, or somebody's yelling and running towards you, they want to attack you. Suddenly you get full of adrenaline, you're all pumped up, your body's stimulated, your heart's racing, you're breathing faster, you're ready to go. That's what these people are feeling, an adrenaline rush. That's all this is. If you want an adrenaline rush, go do something that's safer for you. Don't have your skull nearly pulled out your spine. Because everything he's doing with the cracking and popping is not doing anything permanent to fix your body. There's no permanent change going on unless it kills you, which is permanent. But besides killing you, everything that's being done with this, if you survive it, it's all going to settle back, and there's no fixing anything done with this technique, except an adrenaline boost.
in
大統領選挙の投票日でした。皆さん、世界中で報道されているのご存知だと思うんですけれども、フェルディナンド・マルコス・ジュニア、通称ね、ボンボン・マルコス、有名なマルコス元大統領、独裁者マルコスの長男ですよ。彼が、ほぼ今、当選確実と言われています。まだね、公式集計の結果が出てなくて、速報値ということになるんですけども、開票率 98% で、マルコスが3100万票、時点のレニー・ロブレド候補は1400万票なんですよ。もう全然圧倒的です。2倍以上の差がついてるんですね。正式集計は5月23日に上院と下院の議員の立ち会いごとに正式な開票集計というのが行われそうです。だからね、まだ一応速報という状態なんですけども、マルコス勝利というニュースが世界を今飛び交っています。ここでタイトルにしたんですけども、純粋な疑問があるじゃないですか。なぜなんでということなんですね。僕ら大事にしているなおさらで、なんでフィリピン人は1970年代から80年代からフィリピンの独裁政治に苦しめたフェルディナンド・マルコス大統領の独裁者マルコスの息子に投票する必要あるのということですよ。独裁者がまた戻ってくるっていう恐怖を感じないの。息子はね、お父さんとは別になるんですけども、そういったような怖さはないのか。なんで今更独裁者の息子に投票しなきゃいけないんだ。フィリピン国民は一体全体、歴史っていうのを知ってるのか知らないのか、どうなのか、なんでなんだ、なぜなんだっていうね、これ純粋な疑問が皆さんあると思うし、僕にもはっきりあります。そこについてね、本当にもう疑問だし、興味深かったので、こういう結果が出てね、僕、自分の知り合い、40人ほどの知り合いに聞いてみました。大統領選挙はボンボン・マルコスの勝利になりそうだね。あなたは誰に投票したの？ボンボン、レニー、それともイスコ。たくさんのフィリピン人がボンボンに投票したことにとても驚いています。僕は学校でボンボンのお父さんは独裁者だと習いました。フィリピン人はボンボンが大統領になるということについて怖さはないんですか？それともフィリピンの教科書にはボンボンのお父さん、フェルディナンド・マルコスが独裁者だって載ってないんですか？とても興味深いです。こういうメッセージをね、たくさんの人に送りました。LINE とかね、Facebook メッセンジャーとかいろんなメディアで送りました。それで30何人と返信してくれたんですけども、その中のこのいくつかをご紹介したいと思います。まずはね、マルコスに投票した人たちのメッセージです。マルコスっていうのは最も悪い大統領だった。でも私は前回の選挙で投票した頃からそれは事実じゃないということを知りました。私のお父さんがマルコスについてそれからいくつかの自由人の人たちのアイデンティティをいや、私はそういうのは知りません。マルコスのお父さんが独裁者だったんだけど知らないというそれから Why? You don't like ボンボン。どうしてあなたボンボンのことが嫌いなの？ボンボンはレニーってタイツ候補、レニーより頭がいいということを知っています。というようなメッセージ。それから、Don't believe easily what you have. 読んだことをそのまま信じるべきじゃない。起こった物事っていうものには理由があるんです。The books is full of that. 本に書いてあることは嘘ばっかりだ。みんな子供にはマルコスは悪人で独裁者だと教えるけれども、それは真実ではない。アキノとコファンコ、フィリピン財閥ですね、の権力に対する嫉妬と欲のために、彼らはフィリピン人に偽りの物語、嘘の物語を伝えて盲目にしている。こんな感じ。それから次に私はフィリピンに昔何が起こったのかということを知りません。私にとって彼の、ボンボンのね、お父さん、フェルディナンド・マルコスは大事です。でも、彼の実態については私は知りません。我々は彼がフィリピンの知識に使っているんじゃないかと思って、マルコスに投票したよっていう人たちからそんなに言ってそれから次にレニー、対立候補ね、マルコスの対立候補のレニー・ロブレドさんに投票した女性の候補のこちらに投票した人からのメッセージです。私はレニー・ロブレド派です。 マルコスについては、彼が独裁者であることっていうのは、言及はされたけども、彼の残虐な行為については、議論をされたメディアは彼によってコントロールされ、当時人々は彼が偉大な指導者であると信じている。
一人の先生が、ボンボンマルコスがなんで食ったか何も言わなかったからね。要は失言をせんかったから言わないということで失言をされたという。何と思って、すごい意見やなと思って。
今起こったことについては、今後政治的な研究がされるでしょう。フィリピン人の多くはあまり教育